Hello, everyone. Welcome you all to this episode. In the previous episode, we went through the nutrition during life cycle, wherein we studied about pregnancy and lactation, how important nutrient is during those two phases of life, and later on we studied about the nutrition uh, importance during the infancy period as well as for the toddler. Now, today in this episode, we are going to study the importance of nutrients for children as well as adolescent. So, let us start with the children. Now, coming to the children, the toddler, it was up to 6 years. That is, we call it as preschool also, 3 to 6 years, we call it as preschool. Now, coming to the school children, primary school children, that is between the age of 6 to 12 years, form a significant proportion of the population, and the nutrition of these children has bearing not only on their growth and development, but also on their scholastic performance as well as health. And school age is also the period where the children become extremely fussy about food, being largely influenced by their friends. So this age group is equally a challenging age group where feeding is a problem. So we have to be very careful in what we are giving and how much we are giving to the children, that is the nutrient supplement to the children. Now, coming to the before going into the growth and development, I just wanted to show you the how malnutrition takes place and what is its consequences. That is stepwise consequences. Now, the basic is that there may be social, cultural, or economic and political consequences can be there, which in turns influence the finance, that is inadequacy of finance will be there, that is economic status. Then maybe the resource is not there, human resource or physical resource is not there, or sometimes availability is not there, then the social resource is not there, which will have an impact on the household accessibility for or inadequacy in both quantity and quality, whether it is the food or education or even employment, and the even the income also, which will have impact on the food security, that is the food that has been money that has been spent for food, it can be. So in if when there is no proper the security for, that is food security, then naturally inadequate dietary intake is there, and because of inadequate dietary intake, naturally undernutrition or nutrition deficiency can be seen, and this can be a short term consequences which has got higher morbidity or mortality rate, or it can be sometimes long term, wherein the inadequacy of the finance can have this quantity and quality of the resources, which in turn can have an impact on the unhealthiness, and then disease can be there, and this can again lead to the malnutrition, that is undernutrition or nutrition deficiency, which can also be long term. So that means to say, basically the social, cultural, economic and political context or the components can have a greater influence, whether it is a short term or long term problems which will have an impact on the adequacy of the nutrients in the human being, and then it will have the consequences, that is long term or the short term consequences, health issues will be there. So that is why the basic should be very important and should be taken care. Now, coming to the growth and development of the school children. Now, growth and development, if you just, as we have discussed in the previous episodes also, there is a considerable slowing down of growth rate during the early or the middle childhood. So it is not seen as it was in the preschool, or probably as it was in the infancy, where definitely we were excuse me, we were talking about doubling or tripling of the weight, that is body weight, etc. So here there is growth, but it will be in a slower pace. So slowing down of the growth rate will be there until the second, that is the growth spurt that occurs during the age of 10 to 13 years in the girls, or maybe 12 to 15 years in the boys, is seen in this age group, or other it will be postponed to the adolescent period. Now, the rate, the growth during the middle ages quite steady, and on an average, a 7-year-old child grows about 5 to 6 centimeters per year in the height, and probably 2 kgs per year in weight, and an average increase in the weight being about 4 kgs per year by 10 years of the age. So, as during preschool age, there was a significant growth in the social, cognitive, and emotional areas. We see the same thing that has been continued. Now, we have the growth chart also, how growth, I mean, for each age, what is the amount of reference weight, body weight is there. I think it has been shifted here. So age group is here and reference body weight should be here. So 7 to 9 years, it should be around 25.1 kg. Then 10 to 12 years boys, it is 34.3, while it is for girls, it is 35 usually, because of the weight, fat accumulation in the girls. And 13 to 15 years boys will be around 47.6 kgs, while girls is around 46.6 kg. So that is how the recommendation has been given for an healthy childhood, that is children, both boys and girls. Now, coming to the nutrient requirement, although physical growth slows down considerably, the need of children for nutrients still remains higher as compared to that of the adults. Now, school age children are physically very active, therefore, the requirement for energy and protein have to be naturally met. And we already know that the micronutrients, like that is vitamins and minerals, are very essential for cognitive development. It is very important for children of school age to be very attentive in class and perform well in their academic studies. So we emphasize on the micronutrients, that is vitamins and minerals. Therefore, it is utmost importance to meet their requirements of the micronutrients. Now, coming the school age is also a period when the children are exposed to various infections. Therefore, their immune system has to be strong and function normally, for which intake of again micronutrients should be adequate. Now, let us start with each of the nutrients here. Let us start with the energy and protein. Now, the estimated energy requirement for children can be calculated based on, of course, age, sex, height, weight, and height and weight. So, although the total energy requirement increases, the amount of energy, that is in kilocalories, needed per kg body weight slowly decreases as the children grows older. And this also is same in the proteins also. That is why, if you just recall the previous episodes, we had protein requirement of around 1.69 grams per kg body weight in the infants, which came down by the end of preschool itself, and it came to around 1 gram per kg body weight. That continues here also in the school age group. Now, coming to the vitamins and minerals, as I said, if the child is healthy, a well balanced diet, including a variety of foods, should provide most of the nutrients that the child needs. Now, the diet that children need is not much different from that of the adult, and normally consume, except for the quantity wise, the same menu, that is the family menu, will be there. Now, therefore, the food cooked for the family can be used for the children also. Now, some nutrients of concern, however, are for this particular age group is iron, calcium, zinc, and vitamin A. Now, the deficiencies of especially iron, one vitamin A, and zinc are widely prevalent among this age group, and adequate intake of fruits and vegetables, especially green leafy vegetables, will go on a long way in meeting the requirements of these nutrients for the children. So, new fruits and vegetables should be added or included in the diet. Now, some parents that is will believe that they should give vitamins and minerals in the form of supplement like maybe tonics or tablets, etc. But I think that is not necessary at all. As long as the child is consuming a well balanced diet, and supplements are not at all necessary unless any deficiency is there and it needs supervision, that is medical supervision, then only you can have the supplementation. Otherwise, supplementation, that is oral supplementation other than fruits and vegetables or a well balanced diet, is not necessary at all. Now, the factors that next is the factors that may influence the nutrient requirement or the food requirement. So it is also again very important, and probably we have seen the same factors influencing the food habits even in the toddlers also, that is preschool also. So family environment, which continues even in the school age group, wherein the family environment, whenever you're together and you're meeting for the food that is on in the table, the environment which should be there should be very calm, and it should be a happy environment which will have a positive impact on the children. So that is very important, because in this, when this two children will be learning what is there, or probably observing each and everything, and they will be grasping the things even on the table also, and the food choice or the factors can have an impact on their food habits also. Now, outside influences is like, as I said, it is a mixture. It can be the mass media, or it can be the peer pressure, or even going outside, that is eating outside also, that is going out for restaurants, or even bakeries, etc. That also can have an impact on the food habits. And of course, children are more they are very happy to have consume more of these bakery items or pastries, etc., which are available in the bakeries, or maybe a frequent visit to restaurants is a change of place for them, so they do require, they do go for these things. So if probably if there is any such occasions, and which is very continuous or very common, definitely their food habits also changes, or there'll be an impact, and they don't like to have food in the house also sometimes. So mass media, as I told, it can be either through TV, the advertisements, the type of song or the tune of the advertisement, the color of the food, or the attractiveness which is there, and as I said, even the bonus that has been given along with that particular food item, that is the playing things or whatever it is, the gifts that has been given along with the food when you buy, that also has a impact. And I gave my personal example when I said peer pressure is very, very important for them, since they have already come out and they have explored, explored during the preschool period itself. Now they are in a newer world where they try to imitate the others, that is in the world, that is outside their family or the home. So they want to have, it becomes sometimes prestige for them, or it becomes probably the influence or the impact is in such a way that they want to have what the other children are having. So that has also have got a greater influence or impact on the food habits of the school age children. And sometimes it becomes like Vedavakya, what we say, more than mother or parents or at home, we advise, they take the advice from outside. It can be either their teacher or it can be their friends, which make which will have more weightage than the people at home. So that also, that is peer pressure and outside influences very much high in this age group. Now, of course, as I said, illness or disease also has got an impact, because they may reject some of the foods due to illness, or if it is for a long period of time. And then there can be like a modification in their food habits or so. So then there, it can result even in the that is lesser or deficient in certain nutrient content or nutrient intake also, that can also be there. So the total, that is the impact of these factors definitely has a impact on their food choice as well as food habits. And of course, as I said, they will be in the play mode, and less time, they want to spend less time on food rather than spending more time. So they want something to just nibble, that's all, and they don't want to have anything more than that. So this probably is very much very dangerous, and also is problematic, that has been seen, or that has been faced during this age group by the mother or the caretaker, etc., in the family, or sometimes even in the school also. Now they have made a habit where the teacher stays in this classroom, yeah, in their own classroom, and she eats along with the children. It is mandatory to make them eat whatever the, I mean, lunch box they have got. But unfortunately, what has happened is, as I said, due to media, or due to the pressure of the children, or time consumption, or no time at all, and maybe both the parents are working people, and all those factors, and of course the availability of the packed foods, or the easy to make preparation, or prepared foods, or ready-made foods, whatever is there, that has made the school lunch box a very empty calorie food box rather than a nutritious box. So that has, I mean, that is the major problem which we have seen. And probably it is just a snacks that has been provided during for the lunch, and it will not be full. It will be very, as I said, high calorie or dense food with only the calories and the fat content, so which may have an impact on their nutritional status, resulting in the deficiency of, not malnutrition, but deficiency definitely of micronutrients. So because no vegetables will be there, and the children just lose their interest sometimes with the vegetables also, or they don't like to have vegetables, and it is just the candies and sweets and chips and whatever, the wafers, etc., whatever that is available in the market. So that is what is happening in the school lunch box program, which is there now. This factors has to be dealt very carefully while you're planning a diet, especially school lunch box for the children of this age group. As I said, it should be, the bulk should not be there, but quality wise food should be very adequate in all the nutrients, because 8 hours they'll be staying out in the school, and that 8 hours definitely requires more nutrients for their activity. And in the morning it will be rushing, and maybe sometimes children skip the breakfast also. So you have to be very careful while you're planning diet for the school children for their lunch box. Now, coming to the next component, that is, this is very important. Yesterday, some of them asked about the midday meal program. Now, the role of school lunch or midday meal programs in uplifting the nutritional status of the children. So, this school lunch program is popularly known as midday meal program in India, and this aims at not only improving the nutritional status of the school aged children, but also at ensuring the school attendance, improving socialization among all the children, children in the classroom. So that was very important. Now I would like to just speak something about this midday meal program, which is very important. Now this midday meal program emerged to address the multiple challenges of poverty. Then it was hunger and accessibility to education also. Prior to receiving this midday meal meals, many children face many problems, like performance in the school was not proper, it was very poor. Then this may be due to the short attention, that is adequate attention was not given, maybe due to the micronutrient deficiency. Iron deficiency can lead to lower academic performance, that is attention cannot be given in the classrooms, etc. Then which with the extreme which has been associated with extreme hunger or so. And sometimes we had seen children who would not enroll to school at all, and increase in the school dropouts, maybe due to these children were seeking a job for to help their family, or to look after their younger siblings in the family. So many things were there. Now this midday meal program, that is the scheme in the school meal program, was launched by the government of India, and it designed to better the nutritional standing of these school age children. Both, it was national wide itself. Now the program supplies free lunch, on the working days for children from the primary to the upper primary classes. And so I think now it is also to the high school children also sometimes get this in some places they get the lunch. And this is seen in the government and government aided, sometimes local bodies also take care of it. And then educational guarantee schemes are there, and alternative innovation education centers are there. They all are supported by Sarva Shikshaka Abhiyan and National Child Labor Project, that is run by the Ministry of Labor. Now, just if you just see to this midday meal program, there is a pre-history for starting of this midday meal program. Now it goes to pre-independence, and also initiation taken after independence also. That is pre and post-independence. We have got this root of this program. So I would like to just put forth in front of you some of the aspects which I have just collected about this midday meal program also. Now, the roots of this program, if you just track it back to pre-independence era, when a midday meal program was introduced in 1925 itself in Madras Corporation by the British people, when there was British administration. Now, this midday meal program was introduced in the Union Territory, that is Pondicherry, now called as Puducherry, by the French administration in the year 1930. And initiatives by state governments to children began with their launch of this midday meal program in the primary school in 1962-63. Between that, and Tamil Nadu is a pioneer in introducing this midday meal program in India. And this was mainly to increase the number of kids coming to the school. Later, in first in Chennai, and then it was extended to Tamil, over all the districts of Tamil Nadu. They had called it a special nutrition program also. Now, and during 1982, that is in the mid of 1982, the midday meal scheme in the state was named as the nutritious food scheme. Now, this nutrition food scheme was keeping in view of the children who were suffering from malnutrition. So next was Gujarat took the next step, and it was the next state to introduce this midday meal program in the year 1984, but later on it discontinued. Now, this midday meal scheme was introduced in Kerala in 1984, and was gradually extended to the schools and higher grades also. By 1990-91, Other states also started having this, and they started funding themselves. That is, the state government started funding for this type of scheme. Like it was started in Goa, Gujarat, then again Gujarat again introduced it, then Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Meghalaya, Mizoram, even Karnataka also. Karnataka, Orissa, and West Bengal also received international aids like from UNICEF, and this program was implemented in the states. Now, there was a Supreme Court order about in India stating that adequate nutritious food should be provided. So the program has undergone many changes. These, whatever the previously was there, the program underwent many changes. Probably it was the reason was the stakeholders were not receiving proper food, or at the grassroots level it was not reaching at the grassroots level or the target group. So maybe because of this, it was again relaunched. I mean, underwent many refinement and changes, and finally in 1995, the midday meal scheme, covered by the National Food Security Act of 2013, they started, and the legal backing of the Indian school meal program. Is akin of this legal backing, providing the National School Lunch Act. Now, this national program of nutrition support to the primary education. Now, this midday meal scheme became quite successful and also popular. And observing this in India also, the then Prime Minister PV Narasimha Rao in 1995 suggested and implemented the scheme all over the country, and he named it as National Program for Nutrition Support to Primary Education. So this program provided free food grains to the school children, and this step was called the provision of dry rations, and was started on 15th August 1995 as a central government sponsored scheme, and it was started in some of the states also. Now, the major objective of this program was um, to improve nutritional status of children, and protecting the children from classroom hunger, thus to address the problem of malnutrition, then to increase school enrollment and promote regular school attendance, especially to encourage children belonging to disadvantaged section to attend the school regularly, to provide nutritional support to children of primary classes in drought affected areas during summer vacation. Then, apart from that, it was to improved socialization among children belong to all castes, thus helping to undermine caste prejudice by teaching children to sit together and share a common meal, to reduce the gender gap in the school participation, and thus school lunch program acts as a strong social equalizer. Now, to provide social empowerment through provision of employment to women and liberate women, working women from the task of having to feed the children at home during the day, and act as a source of economic support for the poor section of society, and finally to impart nutrition education for children. So these were the objectives of the program that was launched in 1995. Now, many surveys again were as a follow-up study. Surveys were conducted, research works were there, and these surveys reports have also indicated that school lunch program have provided in bridging gender gaps, with the more parents now sending their daughters also to the school, and this program has contributed in improvement of the nutritional status of the children, also encouraging poor children to attend school more regularly, and helping them concentrate on the school activities. So midday meal also contribute right to food and also right to education. Now, apart from this, which was launched by the government, we have one more midday meal program, which is a privatized program, which we call it as Akshaya Patra. I think everyone of us are aware of it. The history of this is, in 2000, this Akshaya Patra Foundation was founded to address the dual challenges to hunger and education in India. Now, organization provided nutritious, rich midday meals to the extremely underprivileged children in India, with the aim of increasing the school enrollment. That is the same objective which was there. And apart from that, reducing the school dropout rates and improving academic performance also. Now, this Akshaya Patra program had a simple vision, that is, no child in India should be deprived of education because of hunger. I'll repeat it: no child in India should be deprived of education because of hunger. That was the notion, or no, that was the vision of this Akshaya Patra foundation. And because of India's enormous population, this vision was difficult to realize. But however, they were catering. It started in one state and slowly it's expanded. And now I think we throughout India we have got centers, and it is being run by the ISKCON people, and they are taking care of it. They provide lunch to the children, so they have got all the facilities every day. The food is being prepared and it is being carried in a safe, hygienic that is transporters, which has got facilities for cold and hot storages in the transportation vehicle itself. And it has been transported to the school, whether it is near or far. It will take care of it. And the children will have food, that is of fresh hot food in the lunch, for the lunch. So that is how it has been covering. So as an urban operation grew, then the Akshaya Patra recognized that in order to reach the majority of Indians' most undernourished children, it also need to serve the rural districts also. It was in the city areas which we had seen where ISKCON centers were there. Now they have extended, since 2005 they have extended even to the rural areas also in some of these states that is nearby rural area. And because very few midday meal programs operated in some rural districts, they selected such type of uh, places, identified that, and then they are continuing the service. So that was how even Akshaya Patra Foundation was also aiming at the same goals, which was done. I mean, which was same as that of the midday meal program. Probably, if I just recall, that is the UNICEF also has got similar scheme for preschool children through Anganwadi centers, that is ICDS, Integrated Child Development Service, or the schemes for women and children, which is there. It provides not the whole lunch for the children, preschool children. A small portion of it, that is one third of the lunch, will be provided for the preschool children through in the form of the energy food, or sometimes now it is slightly changed. They have got grains also. It has been contributed both by the central and the state, and even local bodies also are supporting it. And the preparation has been done on the spot, and the distribution is done on the spot itself. So initially it was like the packets were supplied to the families, wherein they found that it was not successful because many of them complained about the rancid flavor of the powder, and they had constipation. All those things were there. But now it is mandatory that the Anganwadi center, they prepare it and then distribute the food there itself. And even in fact, it is not just for the preschool children, it has been extended even to the pregnant as well as lactating mother. However, lactating mother will not come to the Anganwadi center, but definitely pregnant women will be should be present in the afternoon to take her portion of the energy food, or even the food what is being provided or cooked, and a known quantity of the food will be distributed to them also. Initially it was extended even to the old people as well as adolescent, but right now I'm not sure whether it has been extended, I mean it has been giving to the adolescent and the elderly. But however, the aim was women and children through the Anganwadi center by the ICDS. So that was similar. I just wanted to refer to that also. That was similar to that of the midday meal program that has been provided in the school as a school lunch program. Now, the next thing is like you have to understand the concerns that is there, the nutrition concerns that is there in the school children. What are the nutrition concerns that they have got? Now, the role of the nutrition concern of school age children are slightly different from that of the preschool children. Now, preschool children are still dependent upon the parents and the caretakers and for their feeding, etc. But school children are not so. They are having more freedom in this regard, and probably they try to imitate the peer group or the elderly people or the parents at home also. So influences outside the house is very important for them and shaping their food habits than the house, as I told, or even the family members also. Now obesity is quite common. I think in the previous episode also I told that obesity is common in the not only in the preschool children. It starts in from the preschool and it goes on and continues in the school age group also. So as we have discussed there, obesity is a serious concern even among the school children, and probably more so than among the younger counterparts, maybe in the adults, adolescent or so. Now, the present, probably the present lifestyles harbor more inactivity rather than healthy physical activity. Probably, if you just recall our younger age, that is school days, we had so much of things to play out and we couldn't sit at home at all. Now children also, they just stick in front of either TV or it will be in front of the laptop, or they'll be having meddling with the phones or mobiles in their hand, and that is what they are doing. Probably there are other things also, like it is not just like even nowadays it is so it has become so important that people feel scared to leave their children out also, and there's no playgrounds as such to play outside. And apart from that, even in the school also we see small schools will be there, built in a probably a house that is 40-60 site or something like that, and no playgrounds will be there. Once in a month a time, whenever near to they take the children, school children, to nearby playgrounds or parks for to play or for some times or so. And it is very difficult to make the children transport and then bring them back safely also. So this makes them to go for other activities, indoor activities, which may be just again making them to sit and then do. And of course we have got the project works, which is taking more people drawing towards the maybe internet and other things. So naturally all these circumstances which are there are making them making the children to just become inactive rather than healthy physical activities there. So TV, television, I mean, we view viewing your computer games takes preference over outdoor games. I think no one, our young children, they don't know what is lagori or what is gilli dand and all those things, isn't it? We just have to recall. I mean, we were playing so many games were there, and it was really, we would enjoy outside, but now nothing is there. So in addition to the inactivity, these indoor activities also promote them eating oily foods, like watching TV and computers or whatever it is. They just tend to nibble in between. That is, they want to eat something, and it is not just want to eat some anything that has been available. It is just fried foods, like it can be chips or whatever it is, as I said, the bakery items which are there, and further increasing the risk for obesity. So a change in the lifestyle, that is physical activity and eating snacks rather than vegetable salads and other things may be the important reason which is leading the children to obesity. And probably inclusion of changing the lifestyle to more of physical activity and eating healthy snacks, like inclusion of vegetable salads is very important way to prevent obesity. Now, apart from that, I kept telling even in the previous episode also, skipping of meals is a common feature that we always see in the school children. Now, school children often skip meals or even breakfast being the most important skipped meal. You have to understand the previous night the child will have eaten, or sometimes due to exhaustment or tiredness, they may sleep like that only, and the whole 8 hours sleep is there. Again in the morning they get up. It's like, late, and it will be rushing day, and they have to go to school, get ready, everything. So they may skip the meal also. Breakfast also over there. Breakfast, you should always remember, is very, very important to break. It is breakfast means it is breaking the fast which was there for whole 8 to 10 hours for the children. So you, and even for everyone as such, but 10 hours for children, 8 to 10 hours for children, I'm telling, because they may sleep at around 8:30 or 9 and then get up slightly in late, maybe around 7:30 or 8 also sometimes. So whatever it is, breakfast is very important, and this important meal, if you skip, naturally the deficiency occurs. So deficiency of all nutrients occurs over there. So you have to be very careful, because breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and it should be planned in such a way as to meet one third of the day's requirement, nutrient requirement. And it has also experimentally been proved that children who eat a wholesome breakfast perform better in the school. Otherwise, we have seen children at 10:30 or 11 they collapse, that is giddiness or whatever it is, low concentration, etc., is also observed because of the simple reason they skip meals, that is especially breakfast. If it is, then definitely their school performance of the day will not be in a proper healthy manner. Now, snacking is again a problem in the issues in the children which we see commonly. Now, children love, of course, we know that they love snacks and indulge in them to the maximum. It can be either chips or it can be kurkure, whatever the fried items we get. Now, more than that, these snacks, we have to remember always they are rich in oil, or the candies, which is rich in sugar. So that is, they consume a empty calorie food, and consumption of snacks just before the meal, or snacking in between meal also, will definitely have an impact on their appetite of the children, because this oil which is there is hydrogenated oil, it can be, which keeps the stomach fully, that is satiety what we say. So naturally they cannot have food at all. So as a result, they will consume less of nutritious food cooked for the regular meals, leading to a compromise of in the intake of essential nutrients. So more such non-nutritious snacks also lead to obesity with all its complications, and especially children, they've got dental caries. That also is one of the important things, to be taken care of, dental caries along with obesity. Now, nutritional deficiency, as I said, school age children are at risk of developing deficiency, especially the micronutrient deficiency, because of their faulty food habits that they are following. So, deficiency such as iron deficiency, anemia, it can be. Vitamin A deficiency can be carried from preschool children itself, preschool age itself, and B complex deficiency can be there. Iodine deficiency disorder or zinc deficiency is also prevalent among the school aged children. And in addition to these deficiency, if there is any frequency of infection that occurs, this makes the situation more worse, and critical. Also malnutrition and infection, it is a vicious cycle which is there, leading to the other. So infection leads to malnutrition, because once the infection is there, the whole digestive tract gets hampered. No nutrients will be digested, and then because of no digestion, improper digestion or no digestion, all the nutrients will be drained out of the body in the form of diarrhea, and then there is deficiency that occurs. So again malnutrition will be there. So it is a vicious like cycle, we say. So apart from their effect on health, these condition also hinder the child's progress at school, and his or her holistic performance, or the academic performance can be hampered a lot. So school children are the ideal candidates for imparting nutrition education. You have to remember that, since they are a good observers, I told you, even in the family when they are on the table, you have to be very careful the way the parents behave, and it should be very silent, or probably a positive attitude should be there, like avoiding arguments or fights or whatever. It should not be there at all in front of the children, especially on the table. So they are more impressed by what their teachers say rather than by their parents, that I told you. And midday meal program can be used as an opportunity to give a nutrition or to impart a nutrition education, when children can be involved in discussion about the nutritive quality of the foods that are being served that day. So before starting, or if once the food is served, you can ask the children what has been served to them, and what are the foodstuffs that is being they provided there in the food, and what are the nutrient content. So like this, they eat and they learn also at the same time. If nutrition information is provided to them effectively, definitely these children in turn becomes a messenger and take home the information, because they are the people who turns the parents also, that is the mother or the caretaker also, and even insist on implementing what they have learned at home. That is very important. So that is why we say it is very important to understand what they need, and what they have to get. So just we have finished with the school age group. Now I'll just carry on with the adolescent. Now this again is a wonderful phase of life, wherein the probably I can say it is the second phase of the lifespan, which we see right from infancy to the adolescent. If you see, the infancy and adolescent can be balanced together, they will balance equally. So that is there, that means to say whatever the development that is there, here we see the secondary development, then the nutrient requirement also will change, or will be that is high demand is there in the infants, and here also we see the same pattern. And the growth and development is too heavy here, I mean too vigorous here, the same way we see in the adult. That is why we say it is probably a turning point for the person. The individual will be preparing himself or herself to the adulthood, and which is a different world. That is why we say it is a wonderful phase, where all the probably I can say physiological, physical and psychological factors change takes place in this age group, or in this phase itself. That is why I told it as a wonderful phase of lifespan. Now, there is a definition. I think definition, each one of them define adolescent in different ways. So the WHO defines adolescence as a person aged between 10 to 19 years. And adolescent is a period of gradual transformation from childhood to adulthood. That normally begins with the onset of the signs of puberty, and is characterized by important psychological and social, along with the physiological changes, as I said. So adolescent again is one of the most challenging period in human development and growth, which was relatively study in the previous age group, that is probably in the toddler as well as in the school age or childhood. is suddenly altered by a increase in velocity, just as we have seen in the infants. So as a result, naturally, a significant increase in the nutrient requirement is also there, which makes adolescent nutritionally vulnerable also. That means to say, if nutrients are not given or supplied in a proper amount, naturally, whatever the changes that is taking place during this phase of life will be hampered or damaged, and then there won't be proper development, which can have its own consequences in the next stage, that is in the adulthood. So that is very important. So in addition to changes in the lifestyle of the adolescent, probably the increase that is affecting food habits can also influence their nutrient intake also. So adolescent is also a period where there is an increased participation in the activities, that is probably the sportings, etc., developing of eating disorders, or even pregnancy, excessive dieting, use of alcohol or drugs, etc. All these things I think I'll be will be discussing about it hereafter. And all these changes are related to nutrient requirement and nutrient intake, which is why adolescents are most vulnerable to developing nutritional deficiency. Therefore, care should be taken to meet their requirements of all nutrients through the balanced diet itself. Now, coming to the growth and development, if you just see to the growth and development of the adolescent before going, actually they have divided the adolescent period as three periods, that is adolescence actually is between 10 to 19 years, as discussed by WHO. 10 to 13, they say it is early adolescent. Then middle adolescent is between 14 to 16, and late adolescent is between like 17 to 19. They also refer it to as youth also, between 15 to 24 years of age. And young people also, they also refer to them as young people also. So each has got its own way of defining the adolescent period, which has been attached either to the childhood or to the beginning of the adulthood also. So let us start with each one of it. Now, stages of development, as I said, in adolescent, it is preteen and teenage, what we call it as. They undergo many physical changes that is taking place. That is both, as I said, physiological and psychological changes takes place. So you have to be very careful with what is happening to them, and it is very important to understand the growth and development. Now, coming to the physiological changes that is taking place, puberty, which is the process of physically developing for from a childhood into an adult, is initiated by physiological factors, including maturation in the of the body. Now, an adolescent gains about 20% of the adult height and around 50% of the weight during this period, and this growth continues through approximately for around 5 to 7 years, which is the period of pubertal development, what we call it as. So most of this height is gained during the period of growth of spurt, what we call it as, which is for about 18 to 24 months, and the initiation of puberty and the peak height gain velocity, however, occurs at different age for different individual, and it is not common for everyone. So in general, if you just take girls begin the adolescent process approximately 2 years earlier than boys, and growth slows down following sexual maturity. However, linear growth and weight acquisition continue into the late teen also for the girls, and early 20s for boys. And if you just take the difference, most girls gain not more than 2 to 3 inches following menarche, and girls who have early menarche tend to grow more after the onset of menstruation than do those having later menarche. And composition of the body changes in the process of total maturation, as we learned even earlier also. in the episode, the proportion of body fat and muscle tends to be similar in both boys and girls before puberty, but with the body fat being an average of around 15% in boys, and it is slightly more in girls, that is around 19%. And during puberty, girls they gain more of fat than boys, and they have about 22 to 26% of body fat in the adulthood as compared to that of the 15 to 18% in men. So boys gain twice as, that is lean tissue which is there, as to girls during this period. So that is very important. Now coming to the next thing, that is we have got other aspect, that is sexual maturity rating, what we call it as. So that is also very important to understand. Now we know that adolescent of the same age can differ markedly in size. Therefore, it is impossible to evaluate puberty growth using one age alone. Like 12, if it is 12 to 13 years, menarche should start. No, it is not so. It is between 12 years to 19 years. We say it can go beyond that, or sometimes we have cases, extreme cases are there wherein it can be before 12 years also. So due to various reasons, it can, I mean, the menarche in girls can occur earlier or even in the later stage also. Now, an assessment of the degree of maturation of secondary sexual characteristics is thus useful in evaluating their physical growth, as probably it is a well detecting certain disease and disorders associated with the adolescence also. So this sexual maturity rating is therefore widely used to evaluate the growth and developmental age during adolescence. Now here the rating is based on the development of the secondary sexual characteristics and are assigned with I mean on a scale of 1 to 5, that is pre-pubertal to the adult. They have got a scale and they have divided. For example, for boys, the scale is based on the progression of the genital and pubic hair growth, and for girls, this is based on the stage of breast and pubic hair growth. So these stages of growth correlate highly with the other pubertal events also. So the major cause of the short structure during adolescent is genetically late initiation of puberty, or on the other, I mean, other conditions can be probably chronic disease, skeletal or chromosomal abnormalities, or can also be an account for the shorter than the normal children. So that is there. So this is just a scale which is used for the purpose of studying, or the reports or survey. So we will have an idea of the onset of any disease condition, or to assume what, or to conclude why or what happened, or the previously, if there is any delay in the maturation scale, then whether the previously the child was suffering from malnutrition for a long period of time, maybe during preschool age, so it has been delayed. So such kind of assumptions can be done with the sexual maturity ratings. Now, what are the physiological changes that is taking place? I told in the beginning itself, it is not just physical, it is physiological and psychological also. Now, coming to these psychological changes which is taking place tremendously, especially in this adolescent period itself. Now, adolescent is a period of maturation of not just the body, but also the mind. And emotional and intellectual development is very rapid during this stage, along with the physical growth. Now, adolescents' capacity for abstract thinking enables them to accomplish the tasks that has been given to the adolescents. So many of these tasks have implications on their nutritional well-being also. Like we'll just have some examples. Like cognitive and emotional changes vary in three different stages of adolescent. So we have already discussed that, that is early, middle, and late adolescent. So if you just take in the early adolescent, the adolescent is preoccupied with the body image. Like he or she may refer to certain celebrities, then think of their body image, how to maintain it, etc. and trust and respect will be there for the adults or elderly. And during this period, this phase is anxious about their friendship with the peer group. They are not comfortable, or probably they don't believe, but still they are very anxious to have friends, and I mean their relationship with the friends, etc. Probably they will have stepped in out of the school, I mean house independently, so they want to be independent, but at the same time they are not secured also. So such type of slightly confusion state is there in the early adolescent. Now the adolescent at this stage are willing to try anything that will make them look better, or however they want immediate result. So nutrition counseling should address these short term goals and nutritional concerns that probably make the teens appearance and performance, maybe like activities like sports and other things can be involved. Now when we come to the middle adolescent, now they have settled now, so they are slightly comfortable. So yeah, the person in middle adolescence is greatly influenced now by the peer group. He doesn't want to believe his parents or the adults, because he sees a different world along with his friends, and he sees in a different way what the parents or the adults may advise, or whatever it is. So such kind of things are there. Sees independence as a very important component in his life, or important goal in his life, and experiences insignificant cognitive development also. So this is because of the peer group, that is influence of peer, that is friends, is greater. And an adolescent at this stage will listen more to the friends rather than to the parents or any other adults. So they become more independent as far as food is concerned, and as a result tend to reject what the family dietary pattern is been followed for so many long years also. So the food habits or food choice completely changes in this period, and this can be a transition period, like for a short period of time, or can be corrected also. So they should therefore be counseled to make a wise food choice while eating away from home also. Now, if you just come to the late adolescent, they are near to the adulthood. They feel they are very, very independent, so has established his body or her body image, is oriented towards the future and making plans for the future, and as I said, increasingly independent, and is more consistent about the values and beliefs also. So by the late adolescent, the individuals are thinking about the future and are interested in improving their overall health. Nutrition counseling at this stage can address long term goals, not just the short term, which we had seen in the middle adolescent period. Now, although adolescents at this age still want to make their own decisions, they are open to information provided by the health worker. So that means to say they have got choice to judge themselves whether it is good or not. So which way to take, whether it is the positive or the negative way. And if there is an impact of peer, definitely it can have both the chances. So it is very, again, very important to have, I mean, to study this adolescent period as a parent or as a educator in the school also should always observe their activities also. Now, as adolescents want to become more independent, they take to probably tend to take more risk in their life. While some of the risk, like maybe in a positive way, like sports, may be harmless, maybe many risk behaviors can be dangerous also. For example, on the other hand, can be dangerous because like use of drugs, and then other alcohol, etc., or school absenteeism, or drinking and driving, not very, I mean, many things are there which they tend to not oblige, not to follow the rules and regulations, because they have become independent, and they are moving towards the adulthood, so they feel that they know everything, and that is again a dangerous period which we usually come across in the family, if we have seen. Now, another group of behavior termed as a quietly disturbed behavior we see. This can be, we can include because of the poor body image, disorder, eating patterns. It can be fear of loss of control over eating or emotional stress, including sometimes we have seen suicidal tendencies. Such behavior or of nutrition concern, since they directly affect the nutrient intake, we have to be very careful. And adolescents often feel uncomfortable with their rapid change in their body. So that is also one of the important factor. Hormonal imbalance takes place, and because of the hormonal imbalance, there are many changes that is taking place, which can affect the psychology of the in during this age group. And they probably they may not be able to express it properly, so that can lead to depression and many other psychological disorders, and can have impact, like it can be even disastrous also. So you have to be very careful while you are handling the adolescents, and the consequences, that is the desire to change their body proportion or rate of growth, may lead adolescents to dietary manipulations that may be very having serious consequences, and rapid weight gain accompanying development of secondary sexual characteristics can cause, and can be there in many of the girls, to rest, and which may lead them to restrict many of the nutritious food itself. And boys, they uh, uh, they are tempted to use nutritional supplements, especially unnecessarily for the, I see nowadays, I think for the muscular development, I don't know, apps or whatever it is they say, that is body muscularism, which is there. They want to develop that one, so they go for all nutritional supplements which is there, which may have its consequences. So these undesirable changes in the heating habit can have its impact, and lasting consequences, such as both the macro as well as micronutrient deficiency on one hand, and on the other hand it can be obesity also. So you have to be very very careful in the especially the psychological changes that may uh, they be there in the adolescent period. So sometimes it needs counseling, not just by the nutritionist, even by the psychologists also, to make them understand what is happening internally. And because of the hormonal imbalance and changes in the physical and physiological body changes that is taking place, so they may accept sometimes, and they may sometimes are scared of what change is occurring, and their feelings cannot be expressed. So though such kind of problem, which you, if a parent observes it, probably she or he, I mean, can counsel them, or probably they can take the help of the counselors also, psychologists, not a psychiatrist, it is psychologists who are required. So they can also counsel them, and along with the nutritionist, they can have counseling done both psychologically and nutritionally. They can bring them out of those consequences that may have be undergoing. So these are the stages. I just wanted to show the growth and development in the body. So the psychological phases that they undergo, that is cognitive, uh, and the social development also. Now coming to the nutrient importance of nutrition for this age group, again as I said, just like infants, we have a very importance, I mean, is given. Adolescent, as you know, is a period again for the nutritional vulnerability, and this is a challenging stage of nutrition. Although vulnerability may not be as high as it was seen in the infants and preschool children, as we have mentioned earlier also, adolescents are exposed to undernutrition, micronutrient deficiencies, as well as obesity also. So the lifestyle and eating behavior of these children along with the underlying psychological factors, are a threat to have an adequate nutrition. So adolescents are said to be nutritionally vulnerable for many specific reasons. It can be including their increased requirement or demand for the growth, then the lifestyle, eating pattern, it can be, or there is risk taking behaviors that we have already discussed about it, and their susceptibility to do through the environmental influences, that is social influences or peer group influences, etc. Now, inadequate nutrition during this adolescent can potentially retard the growth and the sexual maturation also. So it can affect their current health and also put a risk of chronic disease, particularly if it is combined with the adverse lifestyles. So compounded with growth, adolescent pregnancies exposes both mother and children to adverse health and socioeconomic consequences, especially if the adolescent, that is the girl, is stunted or undernourished, etc. Now, hard physical work, as is common in poor socioeconomic countries, may impose additional physiological stress and increase nutritional requirement, especially during adolescent. Yeah, and in certain cultures, girl, I think, may be at a higher risk because of the gender discrimination. Still, it continues in many places. We cannot say that it is completely now broad-minded and we treat equal both male and girls and boys are treated. No, there are certain uh, places or certain families where still discrimination is being carried out, and it need not be to that extent what was there earlier. Maybe to certain extent, yes, discrimination is being followed even today also. So it is therefore very important to have knowledge of the nutrient requirement for adolescents, that is both boys and girls, and the requirements of some of the nutrients that are particularly important for adolescent should be known. So we'll just start with these things. Of course, it should be retreated at this point that all nutrients are important at all stage of life. So let us discuss with these nutrients. So coming to the energy need of the adolescent will vary with the level of physical activity and the stage of maturation also. Growth rate as well as level of exercise must be considered while determining the energy needs of adolescents. Now, coming to the protein, during adolescent, protein needs, just like energy, correlate more closely with the growth pattern than with the chronological age also. And there is very little evidence to show that protein intake are insufficient among adolescents. So, however, if energy intake is not adequate for any reason, it can be dietary protein may be utilized for energy purpose, as I have told you. So, and will be unavailable for synthesis of new tissues or wear and tear of the tissues. So this can lead to protein insufficiency, which can have an impact on, lead to reduction in the growth rate or decrease in the lean body mass, underweight, etc. So severe dieting pattern by adolescent girls where they restrict energy intake are more potential for consequences and of deficiency of protein also, because energy will be taken by the protein that you have consumed. Now, if you come to the micronutrient deficiencies, again, micronutrients, as I said, it is commonly seen in adolescent. Micronutrients play an important role, and deficiency is role. I mean, is common in this age group. So you have to be very careful, and use of sufficient amount of probably vegetables and fruits are very important in their diet, so which can provide rich amount of micronutrients over there, whether it is minerals or whether it is vitamins also. Now I would like to just discuss few important minerals here. Adolescent incorporate wisely amount of calcium, iron and magnesium into their body. during the years of their growth spurt than at any other time. Now, the calcium, it is needed greatly during puberty and adolescent than in the childhood or even in the adulthood also. This is simple because to accelerate the muscular and the skeletal as well as the endocrine development. As I told you, this is a second phase of development, what we say, or growth spurt is there. So this is the second stage of growth spurt. So it again requires what was seen in the infant. So calcium is necessary for the overall development of the muscular as well as skeletal system, and to reach the optimum level. And along with that, endocrine development is there. At the peak of this growth spurt, the daily deposition of calcium can be twice or that of the average during the rest of the adolescent period, and almost 45% of the skeleton muscle is added during the adolescent. And adolescents, particularly girls, are at risk of this calcium inadequate calcium intake. And additionally, high consumption of soft drinks by adolescents can contribute to low calcium intake, especially if the soft drinks are being substituted for milk. In this, I would like to give you an example of my experience itself. One of my student, be a doctor, he did a thesis on calcium deficiency itself. He wanted to know how calcium is there in the, that is calcium level in the body of preschool, sorry, pre-college people, that is pre-university students. And we selected a place, school colleges, that is both rural and urban area colleges. And to our astonishment, we saw that most of the rural that is students coming from the rural background had hypocalcemia, which may lead to osteoporosis also. And when we also just found out that calcium intake was very low because of various reasons, like basically they were from the ragi growing area, and ragi is a good source of calcium, but because of many reasons like a peer group influence or outside influence, and then prestige, question of prestige and other things, they thought that is inferior to consume ragi in whatever way it may be. So ragi was not at all in their menu. So that was there. And of course, milk was not considered for them because they are grown up, and it is just meant for only small children. So with these two reasons, plus additional is they were drinking soft drinks which had, I mean, an impact on the calcium absorption also. Carbonated drinks in, increased intake of carbonated drinks were there in their dietary pattern. So all these things had an impact on their calcium level. So hypocalcemia was very much common in the adolescent, that is late adolescent, that is between 16 to 15 to 19 years of children. We were studying in PU colleges. So this was, there was no sex discrimination. Both boys and girls were having this problem. It was seen more in rural, children coming from rural background than children from the urban areas. So it was really very astonishing for us, the result of the study. So why I just quoted as it is, calcium is very important during this age group. Now, iron, the requirement of iron is high for both male and female adolescents. In boys, the buildup of muscle mass is completed by greater blood volume, when in girls, iron is lost every month through menstrual cycle. We know that, and it has to be replaced also. So during this period, iron deficiency anemia may impair the immune response and decrease the resistance to infection also. And in addition, iron deficient anemia can also be affecting the learning capacity also. So adolescents suffering from iron deficiency anemia can have short probably attention span and poor performance in their studies. I mean, same way we did in the urban area. We took well-known colleges itself, and that was a degree college which we went for the survey. And again we saw there was a notion or belief that boys will not have iron deficiency at all, and girls deficiency was very much commonly known because there is a loss during the menstrual cycle. Again, the results showed that boys had higher percentage of iron deficiency than girls, and this was probably attributed to the choice, that is food choice, that was there both in the girls as well as boys. There was no inclusion of green leafy vegetables nor good amount of iron rich foods, rather than as I said, it was empty calories and rich foods like food from the by bakeries, and all those things were included in the diet. So that was the result of one of our studies which we did. So why I'm specifying and giving the quoting the studies is, see, we have to be very careful when we are dealing with the adolescents. So we should know what is important to them when we are planning the diet, and probably by educating them nutritional educations and counseling, we have to make them aware of what is very important to them at that particular age. Likewise, zinc is also well known, and it is essential for growth and sexual maturity. And although plasma zinc levels tend to decline during pubertal development, retention of zinc increases during the growth spurt itself. So, as a result, zinc is more effectively utilized by the from the dietary source what we consume. So, if there is any limitation, then naturally it affects the physical growth as well as the development of the secondary sexual characteristics, and it has to be borne in mind while you're planning a diet. Now, coming to the vitamins, as in case of minerals, we need vitamin 2 that will be increased. There is increased demand during adolescence. Now, because energy requirement is high, probably the B complex vitamins will be taken care of. Like we have got thiamine, niacin, and riboflavin. They will be taken care by the increase in the energy level, and that is coming from the carbohydrates. So that will be taken care. However, we have to always think about the other vitamins, like tissue synthesis require high amount of vitamin B6, that is pyridoxine, then folic acid and vitamin B12 also. So there is also an increased need for vitamin D also for the skeletal system that is growing. And probably vitamin A and vitamin C and vitamin E are required for the formation of new cells. So, adolescents who avoid fruits and vegetables, and probably who are indulged in use of drugs, smoking, are at high risk of vitamin C deficiency. So, the requirements of the micronutrients can be met only through well balanced diet without any need for supplements. So, whatever it may be, adolescents whose diet have an eating disorder or chronic disease and who make poor food choice are certainly at risk for micronutrient deficiency, and they need intervention, whether it is nutritional counseling or nutrition intervention. It is very, very important. Now, coming to the next aspect, what we commonly see is the food habits. So I just wanted to show how the requirement is there during the adolescent. I'll just skip this slide. So whatever I have explained, it is there in this slide. Each nutrient I have told. Okay. So food habits of the adolescents. Now, this is very common: irregular meals and snacking, then going for fast foods and media, that is influenced by media, results in nutritional inadequacies. So, what is this irregular meal pattern? Is meal pattern of the adolescents are often chaotic. It is not at all proper. They tend to miss an increasing number of meals at home as they get older and older. That is, as they move on in their adolescent period. So, breakfast, lunch, and say being the most frequently missed, and girls tend to miss more meals than boys, probably in the fear of putting on weight. And although some concerns is expressed about the snacking habits of the teenagers, foods eaten outside the traditional meals too can provide substantial nourishment. So therefore the choice of food is very important than the uh, rather than the snacking, whatever, the carbonated drinks or the high calorific food, etc., rich food, etc. But unfortunately these adolescents tend to form a negative association with healthy foods and positive association with these junk food. So it is very important to advise them to have a good food choice. As it is a growing period, it is a peak period, and they require more of food. You have to be very careful. And fast foods, as you know, masal puri, we have got all the charts, whatever it is, starting from pani puri, masal puri, in the street vendors, restaurants. Then we have got even in the shopping malls, etc. They are very common, and we have seen pizzas and burgers, etc. will be there, but they are more rich food, that is calorie rich food, rather than they supply micronutrients. So they are influenced not only by the media, even by the magazines, and probably the only important aspects which I have seen in the adolescent is influenced by the celebrities, which when they see their pictures and the way they keep their body, etc., and they feel that they don't eat anything and they go on diet, and that is how they are maintaining their body shape and size, so zero size and other things. So that is becoming more and more popular in the food, food choice or whatever it is. Now, the next important thing in adolescent is we have got, they have got, as I said, lifestyle, and then food processors, then early, experience, then the appearance is there, then health and nutrition talks, religion. I think religion and cost are slowly coming down, but still, I wanted to put it in the thing, because some of them, yes, do have this things, and cost also, they do take care of the cost also, and family values also will be there. So they are influenced by all such things, and we have to consider all the both the ways. Now, obesity, I think I have spoken about obesity, where we have seen because of their dietary pattern, what it is, and the food choice, it leads to obesity, and it can have psychological impact on them also, because they are obese. They may be very introvert, they'll be depressed, and all such things are there. And they attempt to many things like suicide and other things, because they cannot mingle with the peer group or whatever it is. And this predisposition to osteoporosis, I told you, we have seen cases like hypoglycemia, calcemia, where calcium deficiency was seen in the children, in the adolescent, and anemia also was common over there. So undernutrition is mainly because they are following not a healthy diet, but a poor diet is being followed. Skipping of meals is too high here in this age group, so naturally they have this undernutrition, and sometimes it can lead to micronutrient deficiency, which can be malnutrition also. But this, I would like to emphasize on the eating disorders which we commonly see in the adolescent. So I would like to explain that in elaborate. So this eating disorders are like anorexia nervosa. We have got different ways. Binge eating disorder is there. So bulimia nervosa is there. So let us deal with each one of it. So let us start with anorexia nervosa, what it is. So eating disorder, it is a major health concern affecting the adolescent. Predominantly it is seen in girls rather than in boys, and eating disorder typically begin probably in the middle adolescent, that is 14 years onwards. And adolescents with eating disorders are more vulnerable to many of the complications which may lead to some disorders also. Their impact on linear growth it can be, or even in the brain development, bone acquisition, can also be long standing and sometimes irreversible also. Now, just to define what is eating disorder, an eating disorder is an illness that causes serious disturbances on the daily diet, like eating extremely very small food or severely overeating. Or person with eating disorder may have started out just eating smaller or larger amounts of food, but at some point the urge to eat less or to eat more go out of control. So severe distress or probably concern about their body weight, as I said, shape, etc., can lead to the eating disorders. And the eating disorders are treatable medical illness itself, that free you can just counsel them. And but at certain times it can have associations such as depression, then substance abuse and anxiety or disorder, etc., are also very common over there. Now, the characteristics of this anorexia nervosa is extreme thinness, we say, and obsession to become very thin, within thinness, and unwillingness to maintain a normal or healthy weight. So this is because they are very they are afraid. Intense fear for of gaining weight is there in them, and distorted body image, or probably a low self esteem also is seen in children with anorexia nervosa. And lack of menstruation can be there, and extremely restricted eating is there. So many people with anorexia nervosa image themselves as overweight, and even when they are clear, they are underweight, but still they feel that they are overweight. And people with such type of a problem, where they weigh regularly every day, they start weighing, eating very small quantity, and sometimes skipping of meal will be there. Some people may also have engaged even to the bingy eating, followed by extreme dieting, or extreme or probably exclusive exercise also, excessive exercise also. Then sometimes we have seen cases where they self-induced vomiting is also done. And sometimes using of laxative, diuretics, or enema. So many things are there in which they want to just bring down their weight. And some people with anorexia nervosa recover with treatment after some episodes, and relapse can be there. But still others have more chronic and long lasting form of this type of disorder. And symptoms of severe anorexia nervosa can range from thinning of bones, and can become as serious as causing damage to the structure and function of the heart, infertility, brain damage, and sometimes, I mean, finally, multi organ failure can also be there, which cannot be treated, or it is untreated cases, what we call it as. Now, the other type of the eating disorder is there, wherein we have got the characteristics by reoccurrent and frequent episode of eating unusually large amount of foods without control over these episodes. Like this bingy eating is followed by behavior that compensates for overeating, like probably such as forced vomiting. It can be excessive flow use of laxatives, as I told, or diuretics, or fasting, etc. I mean, it is a combination of behavior that we see. And although people with this type of eating disorder usually maintain what is considered as a healthy or normal weight, they often fear of gaining weight and want to I mean, lose any extra weight that may occur. may happen in future, and are intensely unhappy about their body shape and size, like the previous one, that is anorexia nervosa also. Now this can lead to result in dehydration, probably sometimes electrolyte imbalance, and it can also lead to consequences, like worst consequence, like even heart attacks also. So you have to be very careful about such kind of eating disorders that we see. So the next thing is we have got binge eating. So it is overeating, we have seen, and the that is, they lose control in what they are eating. So the period of eating, etc., will not be cared whenever they are distress, or whenever they are in depression. So they just want to overcome those psychological feelings, so they start eating more. And the other one is eating disorder that are not specified, like patient diagnosed with this eating disorder not otherwise specified. Approximately 50% of the population with such eating disorder we have seen, they are partial symptoms of all the three, that is starting from anorexia nervosa to that binge eating will also be there. So it is not a regular pattern which we say. And patients of this kind, that is eating disorder not otherwise specified, will develop either anorexia nervosa or any other kind if it is not treated. So treatment of such eating disorder is very important, and probably counseling, psychotherapy, medical care, monitoring, nutritional counseling, and medication is the way in which you can prepare. Suppose if it is in an extreme condition, definitely you can go to, the child, the adolescent can be even hospitalized, and can be taken care by the medical practitioners also. So the only reason is their figure and fear of overweight and obesity, which makes them to act in over or under eating, or a mixture of it. They do more of exercise and eat more, or they do skip meals and take only a small amount of food whenever it is required. So that is there. And of course we have got, I think I have covered with this, the pregnancy special situation with special needs, like pregnancy in adolescent is too risky, so you have to be very careful with that. And obesity, as I told, it has become a problem and an issue in adolescent period, which if I just talk as a nutritionist, obesity in adolescent can continue in adulthood and can lead to many problems, issues, like it can lead to overweight, and obesity can lead to heart attacks or even diabetes, etc. So that is there. And of course sports nutrition, definitely you have to take care, and more of nutritious food should be given to such children who are in the sports, and probably advise them to not to go for any other supplements of high dosages, which is not essential when they can be supplied with the food that is available itself. Now substance abuse, I think I've spoken about the smoking and tobacco using in different ways, and drug using, etc., can again have an impact on their not only psychological status but also the physical or physiological status, especially in this age group. As I said, it is again a second phase wherein growth is there and development is also there. So use of such things can hamper the growth and development of the organs, which will take place in this phase, and can lead to many consequences also. So it is very important to counsel them, even and probably give them counseling in such a way that it will have an impact, and they understand the importance of nutrition, and the ill effect of such things, like the drugs and other things. So that is very, very important. So ultimately, I think I'll just summarize the whole thing. Now, adolescent. I'll start with the today's episode. Like children, children again is I mean, childhood is school going children is between 6 to 12 years of age, wherein there is growth but in a lower pace and much demand is not there. But only thing is you have to take care of their nutritional demands for that for their requirements, so that it helps in the normal growth and development. And they are influenced by many things, like the food choice or food habits rather, not is been influenced by the peer group, outside world, etc. So and even of course the media plays an important role, and they spend more time in other activities rather than in eating. So that is one I mean, important thing you have to take into consideration. And while planning the diet or a school lunch also, you have to see that school lunch box is filled with not just bulky food, but instead a small food which is dense, that is nutrient dense. So such type of recipes or such type of dish should be planned for school lunch program, school lunch, and that will take care of the one third of whatever the day's requirement is there. And usually dental caries is the common problem, and obesity is the common problem which we see in the school age group. Now, coming to the adolescent, as I said, adolescent is a period of transformation from childhood to the adulthood, and it is begins the with the onset of puberty and is characterized by three components, that is physiological, social, and psychological changes. And there is a sudden increase in the velocity of growth, and as a result of which a significant increase in nutritional requirement is also there, and this makes adolescents highly vulnerable to nutritional disorders. Now, additional factors that may increase the risk is like eating disorders. We have got adolescent pregnancy during adolescent, excessive dieting, and use of drugs and alcohols, etc. Now, the growth and development in this age group, we know there are changes that is taking place. 20% of the adulthood height and 50% of the weight is gained during this adolescent, in the early adolescence itself, and most of it is gained in the growth spurt, that is in the second or the third stage of adolescent itself. Now, girls tend to put on more of fat than the boys. That is, boys will have lean muscles than the girls. Here, emotional and intellectual development is rapid during this period. So, along with physical growth, and the cognitive and emotional changes vary in different stages of adolescent. And in general, adolescent are preoccupied with their body image, strive for probably independence, or anxious to get accepted by their friends, that is peer group, and therefore they are greatly influenced by the peer group rather than any other adults or the family members. So the food habits become erratic in this particular age group. Irregular meals, skipping of meals, excessive snacking, etc. are being seen, and this also is being associated with eating disorders to maintain their body structure, or say size and shape, etc. So for this reason, I mean, consequences is it can result in underweight, or if it is overeating, it can result in obesity in adolescent, which may have impact both the things, that is either undernutrition or malnutrition, or obesity can have its impact or consequences in the following age group, that is in the adult age group. So proper monitoring and counseling can prevent serious nutritional deficiencies in such individuals. So this completes the nutritional requirement or importance of nutrition during childhood as well as adolescence. So I'll be unlocking now. If you have got any doubts regarding today's episode, you can definitely discuss now. Yes,
Madam,
yes, sir.
Madam, you said that the intervention, some cases, psychologists and nutritionists need to give counseling, and
Yes,
not
sir.
psychiatrists. For
See, it is why I told is like I have got some experience also with regard to this. Once the children know that they are referred to the psychiatrist, but their way of assuming it or taking it is to I mean, it is to the extreme. They don't accept all those things. That I have seen in a few cases as my I mean personal experience when I was interacting with the children in some school also. So that is why if you have seen or if you have come across, many of the schools have psychologists as a counselors appointed in their schools, and if it is in an extreme condition, then only they are being referred. I mean, it is depression, and if it is in an extreme condition, they go for psychiatrists. But initially it will be any small changes in their behavior, and probably correcting some things, like it can be either food or even such kind of things can be handled by the psychologist. So because it is a very tender period in this age group, so anything that is being not accepted by them, we cannot I mean go for it. That is why I told. Yeah. Hajira has asked what possible questions that can be expected by exam point of view. Definitely, we go for because it is a very interesting topic, and we have got what are the physiological changes or psychological changes. What are the changes that takes place in this age group, and the importance. I mean, different problems that is being seen in the adolescent, like it can be different types of eating disorders, etc., can be there. And in school age group, definitely we have got to talk about school lunch program, and those things are very important. Is it true
Thank
that
you, ma'am.
palak? Yes, palak has iron and paneer. Definitely, even calcium is there, and therefore palak paneer food combination. No, 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 no. Iron and calcium. You mean absorption of iron? Okay, so no, it is true that palak has got iron and paneer has calcium. Sometimes with the addition of other nutrients like vitamin C rich iron can be given, so that is not at all a problem, but it is not always. So sometimes you can go for such combination also. That is not at all a problem. Prajwal, they become more sedative than making an effort in taking. Yes, definitely it is that is why I keep telling, like it is very very difficult phase of life which any parent can come across in I mean here in their life. Adolescent period, like we cannot understand the children, and it is, and they'll not be their feelings are not being expressed also. So that is because they do not know what is happening inside their body because of the hormonal changes, and then physiological changes that is taking place, and physical changes that is taking place can have its impact on them. So they are in a total confused state, so we have to handle them in a very very careful manner, in especially in this age group. I
Madam,
need. I cannot tell that completely we can avoid psychiatrists. As I said, initial stage definitely we can go for psychologist, and then later if it is uncontrollable, it is not in our hands, then definitely you can go for psychiatrist. Because from my experience, when I just went to certain a few schools also, I just got these I mean feedbacks, and I saw the I mean some cases where children would not accept these psychiatrists. They would think otherwise. It is not just the children also. Probably as a parent, even I would not accept any counseling. We it is something like, it is very shocking for me. That is what the I mean, parents also think. When we as a advisor, we tell them, why don't you refer them to such peoples. That is it. That is, I mean, it is not a serious this thing notion. It is just what I experience. I just gave an example, that's all. And definitely when necessary, definitely we can give. Yes, sir. I think Varadaraj sir was asking some questions. He's
Yes,
unable to.
madam. Um,
Yeah.
the some of the points I'm seeing the slides. I have
Uh,
referred the book also right now, and that is not there in the book. So, will it those slides be available for us?
Sir, we are going to upload it, sir. What I thought was, see, in the book, it is very restricted. In a small span, it is restricted. I thought some extra inputs is also very essential. And we usually ask you people to refer to some textbooks also. That is why we give references also. So you have to refer, and it is not what is there in the book that only should be written in your exam. Probably for 15 marks, if I just ask, the same one question, it has to have some input over there. That is why we say, I mean, I usually give some extra inputs also.
Ma'am, in this textbook, the course 3, I have seen there is no reference of any textbooks given. And secondly, these books, if I requested in the earlier session also, if any
Huh.
online link is provided, we can download and then refer to that.
Why I mean, I didn't understand. You don't have the textbooks now with you?
No, no, textbook is there, ma'am. You are telling about the extra reference books, no?
See,
That
it
is.
is reference book, like in the library it is there, but now you cannot come to the library. See, any nutrition textbook you can download. Like you have got Sri Lakshmi Dietetics is there. She has written on family nutrition also. Nutrition textbook is there. So there you get all the information, and it is very basic books. Books are there in nutrition, so definitely you can go for such type of book also. So any nutrition book with a very detailed this thing has been given on family nutrition also.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
ನನಗೆ ಬರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ.
Sir, ha, ha.
ಹೇಗೆ ಈಗ ಒಂದ 150 ರೂಪಾಯಿದು ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ? ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೆ 150 ರೂಪಾಯಿಗೆ?
Sir, I didn't get your this thing. Yeah, deficiency, Rekha, deficiency occurred in adolescent stage, can be cured. See, it take a long time to cure. No, it depends upon what type of treatment you are giving to the child. As I said, malnutrition, if it occurs there with severe undernourishment or malnutrition, definitely it can have its consequences. But if you are treating the individual, that is adolescent at this stage, definitely it can be cured. That is not at all a problem. If you're not asking any question, please mute your microphones. It is disturbing because you'll be talking something else over there. So it should not happen. Okay. Actually, recovering is more at adolescent. That is what I told you. No, see, it depends upon the previous phase of life. In preschool, your immune system is good. Definitely, it will. If you can, anything that happens in the adolescent period, like small deficiency disorder, definitely we can cure it, and it can get cured. I mean, recovery is there. That is not at all a problem. Home remedy also, I ask for, I mean, I ask you to go for home remedy itself. I specified in the episode also, it is not necessary to go for any supplements when you're providing them all the nutritious food that is there at home, at the household level itself. So supplementation is only given in the extreme conditions. So it is not necessary to go for any tablets or any syrups or anything like that, even for school children also. Uh, Iron content, you've got many things like amla is the best, and 40 milligrams of iron is present in one amla. that is betadine kai, what we call it as. So such things can be taken when it is in the seasonal thing. One amla, if you just have one day, your one day's requirement has been supplied. And if it is non-season, definitely like palak, and then even drumstick leaves is there. So you can go for any foods like that. I mean, for iron content, all the green leafy vegetables which are there. If you are a non-vegetarian, definitely non-vegetarian, you know, it is in the heme form and directly absorbable form. You can go for non-vegetarian food also, which is better absorbed than the vegetarian, because vegetarian, it needs a supplement, I mean carrier and all those things. But here it is in the heme form, so it directly gets absorbed. And if it is associated with the vitamin C rich source, definitely it is more easier for the absorption of iron also. So that can be given to the teenage girls. Okay. Yeah, adolescent nutrition, you have got many books. I'll just send you the names of the books also. So definitely you can go for e-books. You can just log in and then you can see. Don't go for abroad, that is foreign books. That rather than Indian books, I mean authors' books, you can go for that. It will be in a very simple, understandable language itself. So you can go for those books. Okay. Yeah, Raghav, it is getting recorded. Every episodes are getting recorded, and shortly it will be uploaded in the website, and you can download and you can definitely re-go with the episode.
Madam,
Yes, sir.
one more thing, actually, this in the app, we are asked put the enrollment number as a mobile number or something to log in and download or whatever, see the details. We are unable to do it for PG diploma, this course, for this
I
PG
can't
diploma.
understand, because see, every episode 28 to 30 users are there in the class. So I don't know where your problem has been done. Otherwise, if anything would have been like that, definitely the person in charge, he would have told me, he would have pinged me that there's difficulty from my side. But my side, definitely it is not there.
No,
What
no, not,
number you have given for the admission? So I think it is a direct link you have got to go for.
no, no, not this one, ma'am. I'm talking about the app. There is an app, KSOU Mysore app. In that app,
Student app is there. Yeah, student app.
in the,
Okay.
and also in the website, when we are trying to logging in to see something to download, we are putting our ID and this registered number as well as the mobile. We are not at all able to log in. That is the problem.
Okay, I'll just send you a mail also. You can just ask them in write your problem, and then you can send them. Immediately they'll respond, and they'll try to solve your problem also. I'll send you that email.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Stronger bones implies stronger muscles. Carotene rich foods. Vitamin A. Yes. Hajira, application of what you want, PGDND, I don't know. Examinations and other things will be notified. You can just see to the website. So exams, any new notification is there, they'll give you the, I mean, the way it has to be applied, I mean, downloaded also will be given. So you can do that. You can observe the website and then you can go for it. Practical application. What for? I didn't understand. Practical application is practical classes, you mean? So we'll be letting you know about it. Probably once the exam dates are fixed, we'll be announcing the practical classes also, maybe for 3 days or so. And then you can come. If it is for practical classes you're asking, definitely we'll announce it. Selenium is also very important because it will help in the other macro, utilize the other macronutrients. So it is also very important. Oh, as a Hajira, as a dietitian, you want to uh, oh, practical. Okay, practical application. See, counseling, when you go for counseling, definitely all these things should be whatever you are studying in this, especially PG diploma in nutrition and dietetics, you will be applying it when you are counseling your patients. I think if you are a doctor, definitely it will help you to counsel a patient in a better way. It is just the beginning because you have started with the nutrients, and I just in between you have not completed the nutrients also. I had to take those nutrients, but instead I in between I got this, I mean, third course. So once you start with the completed nutrients and then start with the dietetics part, definitely there, Dr. Charlotte, she's a dietitian, she'll be able to answer all your queries, and it will be more interesting. And of course, that also will have an impact, and that will help you to counsel the patients or whomever you are asking for. So definitely practical application can be done. So this is the base for it. Whatever I'm teaching, that is for a healthy condition, I'm teaching here. And in the dietetics part, that is paper course 4, it will be for the disease condition. So you have to combine this as well as those aspects, and then you have to it will help you to counsel the people. Okay, I think I'll wind up the session if there is no questions at all. And hope you have understood today's episode. And I once again thank you all for your patience listening. And we'll be meeting tomorrow. Again, continue with the final stage of the life, that is adult as well as elderly. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Welcome, sir.